developers doing today, which is fantastic. Listen, do these red days scare you? Is the real question and the real thing I want to ask. We can see coins are retracing a good amount, right? We can see coins are retracing a good amount, 13% on some, 10, right? So decent dips. For some it's scary, right? For some it's scary. For those that I feel like don't trust the analysis too much, or they don't know, or you know they just think it's a gamble, I can see why these days are scary. But I have to just inform you that these days are here just to shake you out. Not only that, but because the market has to move fundamentally. Okay, so this is going to be a prime example. I'm going to be showing you a few charts indicating why there is selling pressure, right? First of all, we have tapped into the top pretty much right here. We talked about how this is a huge rejection zone for the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10 coins, which pretty much for most of you on this channel, this is very relevant, right? I don't really hold any top 10 market cap coins. If I have some, it's just very, very little amount to the point where it's kind of irrelevant. So this is relevant for me, and this can be relevant for most of you. In the markets, it is normal for price to hit a zone and reject off of it. It is very, very normal. Now, in the context of this, we know we are going to be going up, right? So I believe, as just as normal fundamental analysis, there's going to be some type of pullback. We're going to consolidate, attempt again, little pullback, and then we're going to start breaking through. Now, if we compare it to the previous times, it is something very, very similar. We can see that this week on this candle, this specific candle here, beginning of January, hit the all-time highs. It hit the exact same type of area that we're currently at, right? It hit it. And then we can see, although the next 2-3 weeks and 2-3-4 weeks closed above this price, above 68 billion, right, in market cap, it still had very, very big pullbacks. We break it down to a smaller time frame, which we can't. Okay, cool. I guess we're just gonna have to do it this way, where I'm gonna have to go in on the daily, which is fine. We can see that it was very, very wicky. So there was lots of rejections and it was going up and down. But we can see in terms of candle closes and the trend, if we mark it up, we can see if we just follow it, we can see that we are going higher and higher, and we're having higher lows, correct? We can see that. So it's going to be the same thing. The markets are going to try to shake you out a lot. Plus, market makers know that people are going to try to long this, right? They're going to try to leverage trade this area for the breakout. So they're going to try to liquidate you as much as they possibly can. That is just the reality of the game. Okay. That is just the reality of the markets. Not only that, but if we look at something like Bitcoin, our beautiful head of the snake, we can see Bitcoin has actually been going down a good amount lately. Now, it did have that flash crash, but for me, that was more of a retest on a higher time frame. If we go and look at the weekly, right, this is a huge rejection, right? The closing could have been a bit stronger, but it's a huge rejection. And in my opinion, we're going to be pulling back somewhere in between 94 to 92,000 would be the sweet zone. Okay, it would be the sweet zone. If I try to break it down on a smaller time frame, we could see going to 4 hour, right? Still very big rejection. We're going to 15 minute. We could see there's actually a decent zone here on the 15 minute. We're going to 10 minute, 5 minute, right? The when the candles really start popping up, it's roughly around, well, they start at 96,000 mainly, but we do have this 1 minute order block candle here, which is actually funny because I'm going to be looking to take a long position here. So I believe, like I said, pretty much I marked it up perfectly, that from around 94,000 to roughly 92,000 is where I expect Bitcoin to retrace, to go into this zone before it continues going higher and higher. We can see at this current moment, I have even drawn up, well, this is my type of drawings, okay? But for me, everything makes sense. So I'm going to go over it again. So we see the red line, we have a high. Then we have a lower high, okay? Then we have even a lower high. Then we have a lower high. We can see that, right? I actually made a good amount today off of this candle. Got a nice thing, pull back, right? Once it kind of broke above this zone, I was just holding a little bit more, took out money, then called it a day. I come back, huge sell off. So, you know, perfect, right? But we can see we are creating lower highs each time. The market doesn't lie. The market does not lie. The candlesticks are inevitable. Okay. That is the reality of the market, right? There will be a time, there will be a day where you have to sell and the market is going to indicate it's reversing. Okay. That is just the reality. Look, when I go back on my channel and I go on some of my most popular videos, we can see when I said turbo is going to die, this one, right? When turbo is going to die, I pretty much called the reversal. Okay. We see on this, right? It was on a 4 hour. Sorry, you guys can't see, but we're pretty much on a 4 hour chart. And we can see there was multiple rejections here. Multiple. So pretty much it was like a whole day worth of rejections. And then we had a huge break to the downside. And then look, I pretty much drew it up how I expect the price to go somewhere there, right? And then pretty much continuing down. And then, some people were laughing, right? It's up 32%. How is it dead? It wasn't dead. It was simply clickbait. So I'm sorry for the clickbait, but sometimes I have to clickbait a little hard to get people's attention, right? If there's something urgent, I have to sometimes clickbait a little hard so people are aware what is happening. We can see, you know, also, I'll give you another example actually. So in for turbo, there's been a few times where actually I've made the reversal calls, right? And there's no coincidences. There's no coincidences in this market. Like I said, if you're a viewer on this channel for a while, you know my philosophy in these markets is that I believe everything is rigged. Now, listen, could be a dangerous mindset, but it's worked for the most part. Okay. It has worked for the most part. And I can prove it, right? Pretty much when this was turbo, right? There were certain key areas I was looking for. I said, listen, guys, I gave you two general areas where you can buy. One was more conservative, and one was where I think it was going to reverse. And pretty much this area was where I believed it was going to reverse. And this area was where I thought you can get pretty good discounted prices. And we can see that when we go back here, there's certain types of candles I was looking for. There was structure I was looking for. Okay. So we can see that here was pretty much the bottom of pretty much almost the last relevant area. Technically, this was the last relevant area, but sometimes certain coins don't pull back as much. Some coins do. As we know, Caspa went from 20 cents to 10 cents, so it went fully back in its range, while Turbo didn't technically go fully back in its range. It still went a large amount. So that is the thing with certain, coins and certain pairs. That is why I only trade Bitcoin, I only trade gold, and sometimes I'll dabble in a different pair, but I roughly in general only trade two pairs. So we can see, right, there was specific types of candles I was really looking forward to and looking for, right? This demand zone over here was a nice one in particular, right? I pretty much said you could get it here. And I also gave this one here. So I gave 3 price points. Now I get it. I gave multiple price points, but at the end of the day, I gave it for people's choice and what people want. Some people, they're just scared, right? They might not believe in this stuff fully. So they just might want to get in just to get in. I understand that because I've done that in the past a few times where I'm like, I could get a little bit more discounted price, but I'm still going to put a good amount of my money. And then, maybe I put in, like, let's say 60% here, right? 60% in the first one, then 30% here, and then 10% if we get here, right? Something like that of my money that I want to spend. Some people just buy just to buy. You know, they buy every week, they buy every couple of days, they buy every month, right? So that's also a strategy you can do. But I buy based off certain zones. And then we can see if we click play how it like played off, right? Very, very well off the first zone, right? Played off well off the first zone. Good retracement. Then went lower to our main zone where I was looking for, right? Could have got nice prices here. And then it did have the pullback. And we can see that was all the relevant last ranges. And the same thing is going to happen with the sells in the market. When we're going to have to sell, we're going to have to look for where does price reject? Because if this was in reverse, ladies and gentlemen, right? And let's say hypothetically, this area was the all-time high and we tapped and we start to reverse off this, that's an indication that the markets are reversing. As you guys know, I always talk about the triple tap method where there's a candle, there's another candle, there's another candle, and each candle goes inside that candle, right? That's a signal for reversals, right? That's one way to signal and see reversals. That's how we caught PNG reversals. That's how we caught the Bitcoin reversal. And it's the same thing for when things want to sell off. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, make sure to stay prepared. Make sure to subscribe, stay notified, because listen, there will be a time where you have to sell, and I'm going to tell people when I'm selling.